Hey friends, welcome to Parent Cafe Live. Today we are going to be talking about building empathy in our kids. So empathy is something that is really hard to build, and you can't really learn it until you're shown it. And sometimes we forget what empathy is. And I know that I have not created as empathetic of a child as I would like. So I feel like this is something that will be a good thing to work on, and maybe make next year a little smoother for him, less tantrums, less emotional outbursts. So I think empathy really helps with regulation. It helps us go from here in our survival state. It moves us up into recognizing other people's emotions and how we look when we're letting all of our emotions out into this executive functioning state. So that prefrontal cortex where we can use logic, right? So happy empathy is good, right? So we kind of built that with celebrating togetherness. But this kind of empathy is just empathy as a whole to help guide our kids through big emotions. So we're honoring and recognizing our child's emotions, their truth in that moment. And we have to do that by remaining calm. That's the number one thing. So what I'm going to teach you guys today is a way to stay calm. And we're going to be using words and actions to show our kids. So when our child is in the middle of an emotional outburst, we are not going to get upset and meet them at that level, because that's not empathy. And so this is something that I struggle with is sometimes I get really frustrated and upset when my son's really frustrated and upset. I'm better when he's like sad, because when he's frustrated and upset, he gets angry and mean and he lashes out and he uses all that verbal vomit to get it out, and bad, mean, grumpy body language, and I don't respond well to it because it feels disrespectful. And so I have to learn to like turn that off, and it's not about me. And I feel like this is easier for me to do with adults than my child. So I don't know why. I think it's because I'm still figuring out what his emotions are and what his needs are. So this is a good tool to do that as well. To take that moment to breathe, active calming, right? And get in the right frame of mind ourselves in order to role model this empathy. Empathy is not distracting somebody from being upset. It is not avoiding upset in your child, okay? We have to let our kids have their emotions, but through time we can help them verbalize them in a healthier way and not have so many tantrums or outbursts. We want to help them learn how to organize those feelings and how to have appropriate responses. To have control of those responses is a huge thing too, right? So empathy requires us to accept that the person is upset, to acknowledge their thoughts and feelings, and then we don't need to change those thoughts and feelings. They can have them. So we're not convincing them to calm down. They're just going to naturally do that as they process, because that's what we need to do too, right? Like somebody just says, you need to chill out. Well, I don't really chill out when somebody says that to me. If somebody says to me, hey, you are yelling at me, and I'm not the person you're mad at, and I get that you wanted this, this, or this, but talk to me about it, like that gives me, like I respond better to that than just somebody, you need to chill out. Like that does just not go well, right? So why would we expect that to go well for our kids? I still don't know why I think these things when I think them, because I am a pretty logical person until I'm in my emotional brain and am not calm. I'm not responding with logic. I am just word vomiting myself and saying things. And you can always apologize and go backwards with your kids, but the less you have to do that, you are showing them, you're modeling to them how to regulate your feelings. And by using your words, you still let them know you're having those feelings, but you're helping giving them words too, and showing them how they can express that and what's a good way to do that and a good way to handle that, and how people should respond when other people are angry too, right? So I was really bad as a kid, as always wanting to make everybody happy, and I felt horrible. And I still do when people are upset. Like, it's my job to fix it. And like, I have to really try hard to let that go, because I can't control that. And most of the time, it has nothing to do with me, but I like feel it, and it makes me feel sick to my stomach when people are upset. And I don't know. Like, I don't always know what to do with that. I mean, I have to be okay with that. And you'll see this a lot when you're in, like, you know, your interpersonal relationships, especially ones where there's like love. When love's involved, I feel like we tend to put our guard down and show our ugly side a little bit more to the people we love. And that's not always fair. So thinking about these things when you're doing it. When we're teaching empathy or like reflecting empathy to somebody else, we're also letting them know that we think they can handle their stuff. Like, they can manage it. They've got this. They can get through this. And that's reassuring in itself. Like, oh, they're not just yelling at me. Like, oh, all right. Yep. I can follow this train of thought. Like, I can calm down too. They're calming down. They're speaking to me respectfully. Like, I can do this. So remember when we talked about the brain? So we have our brain stem down here where the survival brain is. And then up in here is the emotional brain, our limbic system. And then up here is our prefrontal cortex, which is where our logical brain is, our executive state. So executive functioning happens. All these skills that help us problem solve, critical thinking, just a higher level of thought and logic is all up here. So in order to help move our kids up, we have to address where they're at. And so they're at their the survival state at first. So let's say a kid is at the store and asks for a toy and you say no. And they get really upset, cry, cover their face. So they're here. So we need to address that. So the way we're going to address that is by telling them, your arms are doing this, and your eyes and your face are doing this. And we wait until they have eye contact with us, because we want them to be noticing us. We want them to be paying attention. We take a calm, deep breath. And then we say, you seem really upset and you wanted that toy and you didn't get it. And they're going to be like, well, yeah. And they might continue to carry on and be upset. But once they acknowledge that, you can start giving them encouragement. Well, I know it's hard, but I think you can handle it. We'll be okay. And going back to like that celebrating and noticing is a good time to pull in some of that as well. And kind of change, as we change our language and manage expectations, I think we won't have to intervene with as many empathetic responses. So let's say the next one. Let's say it's bedtime and you tell your child to go brush their teeth and go to bed. And they say, no, it's not fair. It's not my bedtime. Why do you get to stay up and I don't? Okay, calm, deep breath, because I think in this case we might need one before we start. But we are just going to point blank with no judgment say, you just stomped your feet like this, raised your arms like this, and your face was like this and you used a really loud voice. And once they make our eye contact, we're going to take our deep breath, remain calm, because that's what we're going to do continuously through this. You seem very angry. You wanted to stay up late tonight and you're not able to. Time for encouragement, because we just brought their brain up to here. And they might kind of come back down here a little bit, and then we just continue. We might have to continue to show them that we hear them, we understand them. The younger they are, you might have to go all the way through again. But like a 5-year-old, I think they're pretty much, once you get them out of here, they're in here. And you can pull them up into here quicker. So, I believe that it will be okay for you to go to bed on time. You do this every day, and I'm so proud of you. Or this is something we do each day, and I have, your visual routine. And so we're encouraging, right? Well, what if something is more like your child comes up to you and they're really mad because they couldn't get their shoes tied. And so they throw their shoe on the ground and they cross their arms and they pout. Okay. You just threw your shoe on the ground and you crossed your arms and you made your face like this and you're pouting now. Once they acknowledge with eye contact, we say, you seem very upset and frustrated. You wanted to get your shoe on yourself, didn't you? Once they acknowledge that, you can say, well, we've practiced this. I think you can do it. Try again. Or maybe that's still a really new skill, or you've noticed they've been struggling. You can say, okay, how about if you need help tying your shoe, you bring your shoe to me and you ask me for help. So maybe they haven't learned how to ask for help. So I know I'm dealing with a lot of that, with my child getting really frustrated and just getting mad that I don't know instantly that he needs help, or I can't get to him in the time frame he thinks I should. And so he just kept saying things like, the shoe thing's a big thing. Well, I don't like tying shoes. It's hard for me. That I don't want to put these ones on, versus just saying, I know these are the shoes I need to wear today, but I'm having a really hard time tying them. And usually he can't untie the double knot and he gets that stuck. So that's where he's at. But he's not very good at asking for help. He's just getting really mad at me for asking him to do something that's challenging for him. So we're working on that a lot. So this one's really cool. It kind of gave me a visual idea of what's going on in his brain, so that it helps me stay calm. Again, so I'm not feeling like it's a disrespectful thing. It's more of a need that he needs met. And that's probably, for me, that is the hardest part about parenting, is regulating ourselves and meeting our kids' needs and understanding when we're in this part of our brain that it's not about us. And sometimes we're tired, we're exhausted. We're all busy, and I get that. And it is hard. It is so hard to do this sometimes. But if we can start training our brain to do it, number one, we'll have a better outcome with our child, parent-child relationship. Number two, we're role modeling and we'll see a significant change in our child. And three, I think it just makes us better humans in all of our other relationships as well. Like I keep telling you guys, self-reflection is like the biggest tool we have. And I never get on here thinking I know everything. I never get on here knowing that I do everything right all the time, because I don't. And I love the idea that we are enough. We are good enough. If we are questioning what we're doing and we try different strategies to see what's going to work, I think that is amazing parenting skills, because not each of our children are exactly the same. Not each of our children experience the same things. Not each of our children have the same parents. Like, there's a lot of factors that go into this, so you take what's going to work for you. I do believe in this like brain level thing. I think it's an easy representation, and understanding that this is not developed for a long, long time, that we're going to keep retraining and showing and role modeling. And we have to build good empathy skills. We have to build good social functioning skills. We have to build self-esteem in our kids. We have to show them like that they have value. And all of these things are good ways to do that. You know, the celebrating togetherness is all that adding helpfulness into their, you know, their connectedness to their family, that they belong to a greater being, a greater unit than just them. And they want to be a part of that, and they want to help. You know, I've talked about some of the shocking things my kid says, but he also says shockingly beautiful things. Like, I know that my husband and I are like the most important people in the world to him. Just the way he talks to us when he's sweet, and he's such a little schmoozer too, and he's super sweet. So I know he's just got these really big emotions. So I know when they're negative emotions, they just come out really big too. But I never want those to continue to turn and be that dark. Like, I understand he's not quite old enough to have that dark of language. He hasn't experienced trauma that would create that. That's just language that he's heard and knows how to use. And I don't know where he's heard that one, because it's not something like I've said, and I've never said to him that I wish like he wasn't born or anything. I always tell him like he is my most favorite gift, and being his mom is the most amazing thing. But he learned that somewhere, and he took it and he grasped onto it. And so all of this stuff is also like retraining their brain to keep from using negative thoughts, having their brain get stuck on negative thoughts and negative language. So the more we work on these things, we get to start practicing using positive language, and they start to hear that. Because negative language, you don't always know that that's what's coming out of your mouth. You're just like trying to get your kid to do something because it's time to go, right? But we often lose our patience and temper, and stuff just comes out because we're here. This is that word vomit place, right? So how many of your parents talk to you in this positive, empathetic way? I don't think my parents ever did it exactly like this, but there were times when they were better at showing empathy and times that they weren't. And I really truly believe it's just because this is not like natural. Like, you have to work on things like this. You have to work. Person, a balanced person, somebody who can regulate emotions, somebody who can be up here and be really self-aware. And that takes time. And, you know, I'm not a young parent by any means. And I have the benefit of having some time under my belt before I had my son, and I thought I knew exactly who I was, and I'm still growing every day, every year. Like, I just change and come full circle, and you just learn a lot about yourself. And as you learn how to just kind of be a better human, like I want to be a better human for myself, for my son, for my husband. And it's like ever like evolving. And I think that's the true power to being a good person, is constantly striving for more, to be helpful to others. And it's all these things we want our kids to learn too. And it really is like this great happy place, and it's a way to help retrain our brains if you've experienced, you know, where you have negative intrusive thoughts and just struggle sometimes with how to deal with certain people. And having empathy really is a great life skill, because you can deal with people that you don't necessarily agree with, but you respect and you hear them and honor them where they're at. And I think that's a great skill to teach our kids. So, I don't think I have any other scenarios for you guys. I think those ones covered it pretty well. If you guys have questions or would ever need to like talk through a situation, please message me on here. But always just reflect. Like if we react at this part of our brain, the next time we can react up here. And taking deep breaths, like that active calming is seriously like a game changer, because you have to actively like make yourself do it, and it jolts you. And we're going to teach our kids how to do it by showing them. Like they know when we're going to be mad, right? And if we've had these reactions before, they're expecting them. And so if we come out of left field with this calm presence, like they're gonna be like, whoa, what's happening? Oh, okay, I like this. Again, those power struggles will diminish. We build self-esteem, better parent-child relationship, and just better like cognition for our kids as they develop and grow, because they're able to be up in here more often as we teach them how to get there. So I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. Please subscribe, like, share, hit that bell so you get notifications for new uploads. I look forward to seeing you guys all again soon. Have a great day.